Jumanji is a 1995 film that was directed by Joe Johnston, and it's based off of the book with the same name. Now the plot is we meet this little kid, Alan Parrish, who is constantly being bullied by these kids. He's feeling a little neglected by his father, and this all causes him to want to run away. But right before he does so, he finds this board game named Jumanji at this construction site. And when he's about to run away, he sees this girl, Sarah, and the two of them end up playing this board game. But when they play it, Alan ends up getting sucked into the game and trapped in there. 26 years later, Judy and Peter Shepard, our brother and sister, they move into Alan's old house with their aunt, and they find the board game and they play it. But when they play it, not only does Alan come back out into the real world, but they unleash this jungle world to their world. Now, what I think of Jumanji is I really, really enjoy this film. It's yet another Robin Williams film that I grew up on, that I've seen so many times as a kid, but thankfully rewatching it, it still holds up in so many ways. Let's talk about Robin Williams' character, Alan Parrish. I love that this movie took the time to get into his backstory at the beginning. How you see him as a kid and you see not only him being bullied by these asshole kids. I mean, the fact that they all gang up on him like 7-on-1 and beat him up is just, it's really annoying. But when he finds this board game, there's something about this game that's enticing. The way how the drums go off and it just brings you towards it. Kind of creepy, but again, if you're a kid, you can't help but be intrigued. When he gets sucked into it, it's so creepy. And I remember being a kid and thinking it was almost horrifying to see him literally being sucked into this game. When we get 26 years later and we meet Judy and Peter Shepard, I like these two kids. I like Kirsten Dunst, who plays Judy. She's very young here, but she's a good actress. I like how she is not afraid to lie. In fact, she's good at lying. The way how she almost, in a sense, to the realtor, plays up the whole what happened to her parents and how they're all traumatized by it. But in fact, she's dealing with it as best as she can. Her brother, Peter, he starts off a little, not creepy, but he won't talk and he's closed off emotionally. I will say that the CGI, for the most part in this movie, still holds up, which is surprising to say because it's 1995. Why would CGI from 1995 still hold up? For the most part, it does. You do have, like, the monkeys. They don't look real at all, to be honest. That's some of the worst CGI. But when the rhinos and the elephants and the stampede comes through not only the house, but the whole town, that looks great. And the moment when the lion shows up, that's both practical, like a real, almost puppet lion, which looks amazing, and then when that goes into CGI, that looks great as well. Now, when Robin Williams comes out after 26 years of being in this game, and you see him with the long hair and the beard, and he's almost a rabid animal because he's lived so long in that environment, I love that part. I love seeing what's happened to his character after all this time, and seeing him realize how long it's been, what's happened to his parents, that they're long gone, and just him having to adjust back to the real world. It's not a whole lot of that, but still I like that they took the time to put that in the movie. The rest of the film, you have them having to play the game, finish the game, because that's the only way to stop the chaos from going on. And it is chaos. All of these animals running around is chaos. Even when the hunter character shows up, who's in fact played by Jonathan Hyde, the same actor who played Alan's father at the very beginning. So that was very cool that he was in there. You also have David Alan Grier, who at the very beginning he worked at the same factory that Alan's father had, but now he's a cop. He has some of the worst luck ever, especially his cop car. all of that is some of the funniest stuff in the movie. But getting back to the game, seeing when they have to go find Sarah, the girl that played the game with Alan so many years ago, when they have to get her back and how she thought she was crazy and thought none of this really happened. In fact, the big rumor was that Alan's father killed him and cut him up into a bunch of pieces. When Peter tries to cheat and tries to get the dice to fall on a certain number, the game ends up turning him into, I guess it's a monkey, but he looked more like a wolf man, a wolf boy, if you will. As crazy, as much as I should be afraid of this board game, I think there was a huge part of me as a kid that desperately wanted a board game like this. So what more can I say about Jumanji? I still enjoy this film after so many years later. It definitely brought me back to being a kid and watching this. In fact, I remember when they made an animated series based on this movie. I used to watch that show all the time. I'm hearing or I'm reading online that they want to remake this movie. I'm disappointed by that. I know if they remake it, I could still have this movie to enjoy and rewatch, but it sucks that I feel like every movie from my childhood that I grew up on is being remade. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you've seen Jumanji and if you enjoy it just as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!